What's good, people? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the show. Special one for you tonight 'cause we've got a special guest on. Trust me, it is not tapping Tobes. It is his brother Tosin. And he's a gooner. Tosin,
Yeah,
pleasure,
yes.
man. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah,
How are you, mate?
pleasure's mine. Thanks for having me on, guys. I'm good. I'm good. Looking
Good,
forward
man.
to the big one on Sunday. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. We're going to touch on that as well. Lee, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. I was just saying, it's also bloody. I ain't got warm since last night. It was bloody freezing at the football last night, and I mean cold. And I just have not got warm since, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but other than that, all good, all good, all good.
Good, man. I don't know. I can't lie, Judge, right? I see your interview and you were absolutely wrapped up. It was as if you were in
Oh,
like -7 or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
it was really cold. The wind was bitter and all that, like, you know. So, had a little trip to Bicester village before, like, you know, we got there early.
Nice.
So, done a bit of shopping, like, you know, and um, Julian forgot his hat. You know, didn't have an hat, so he went and bought an hat. Like, you know, so yeah. So I wish I'd have bought a coat or something. Like, I was so cold. It was caught me out. I didn't think it was going to be as cold as that, to be honest. So I didn't have my warm coat on, which was a schoolboy era. Was a schoolboy era.
Yeah, man. Listen, do you know what? It's a first for since you've done this channel. I didn't watch the game last night. I couldn't watch it. I had plans. It's the first one I've missed for a long time, it seems. And I think I picked an all right one to miss because from what I hear, not much happened until the subs came on in the second half. So, oh yeah, talk me through it, judges. You were there, man. What did you make of it, bro?
Listen, I don't know what it was. It was a bit subdued in the going into the game. The atmosphere was a bit subdued at first. I don't know because it only has three sides. I don't really know, like, you know what I mean. But the most entertaining thing of the first half and into half time was they had three people from the halfway line and they had to kick a ball and get it into the 6 yard box. And if they did, they won two tickets. And that was the most exciting thing it was really, you know what I mean? I was really into it. The first half was very, very poor. Very, very poor. But I look back on it now, and I think that a lot of those games are you know, the League One side put it about, make it very, very difficult, work really hard, and you have to go through it, you know. And as you've seen, a lot of teams have gone out against League One opposition or struggled. So it was tough. Got to say, I know we had the white kit on, and everybody was saying it. This is Nottingham Forest again. A year later, like, you could see it happening. That's what
Bad
it looked
omen.
like. But then he brought on Shaka and Zinchenko, and they were just different class. They just changed the game completely. It was unreal. Just two players, and from that moment on, once we scored, you know, it was only one winner, and in the end, it flattered us a little bit, if I'll be honest. But we could have actually won by a few more if we'd have took our chances. So, all in all, it was job done. I don't know if everybody's a little bit subdued, Dan, because um, we knew we had Man City in the next round, and why they do the draw before even the teams are playing and all that. So I don't know. You know, talking to a few people going, "Oh, I don't really fancy going to Manchester because you've got Liverpool the following week," and you know, so it was a little bit. I can't explain why it was a little bit subdued, but it got better in the second half.
Yeah, it did. And I gotta say, Tosin, like one player, Eddie Nketiah. Now he gets a lot of stick, to be fair, and I'm not gonna lie and say that I've not given him stick in the past in an Arsenal shirt. But I think he deserves his flowers, man. I was saying to a friend of mine only today that one appearance in the League Cup. I know we went out, but he scored that night. One appearance in the FA Cup so far, 2 goals, 3 goals in the Europa League, and I think it's 4-4 in the Premier League. 11 goals in 11 games at the Emirates Stadium. If that was, any striker in the Premier League, you'd say fair play. He sounds like a good signing. So, wanted to get your
Yeah.
thoughts on where you stand on him and how he deserves a little bit more respect, I think, from football fans in general. Tossing, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm actually pleased for him. I'm pleased that he's doing this, because I definitely was someone that gave him stick in the past as well. I didn't think he was rubbish or terrible. I just thought he'd be better off leaving Arsenal and just going somewhere where he could get more games. But you can see Arteta has always liked him, always backed him. And obviously, he took his chance towards the end of last season. And I actually thought he was going to leave at the end. I thought he was going to go on a free. I just didn't think it would be worth keeping him. But obviously, seeing that we gave him a lot of money to stay, and obviously Arteta must have promised him you're going to get minutes. Just to see him doing what he's doing this season, he's actually sort of shutting me up a bit, saying, "Okay, you know what? Like, look, I may not be Jesus. I may not be these 50, 60 M strikers. But one thing I am is I'm a fox in the box. You give me 10 chances, I'm going to put 8 of them away. He's a good finisher. And what I like, I'm seeing a lot of great off the ball work from him. So I'm really pleased for him. And I fully agree with you. If this was any other striker, because opposition fans are going to be like, well, yeah, he's only scored against Oxford. He's only done this. He's only. But it's like, look, every time the guy's been given a chance, he's doing what we're asking him to do. So there's not really much more he can do except score against what's in front of him. So he's done good in my opinion. I'm really pleased for him.
Yeah, I'm pleased for him as well, Lee, because obviously he's a player who's come from, he's one of our own, he's come from Ireland, and I think that everybody would have probably put money on him leaving. Like, I agree with Tosin. I thought he was going to go. I thought his time was pretty much done, but fair play to Mikel Arteta, man, because as much as Eddie deserves his flowers, he deserves flowers too, because he's backed him, he's believed in him, and he's given him the opportunity. And to be fair, Lee, you can't say that Eddie ain't taken his chance this season. You may have lost few
Exactly.
games in last few times that he's been given chances. He's probably at games let himself down and let us down a bit. But actually, when you look at the back end of last season and this season, I don't think we can say that Eddie has been a disaster to keep or a flop at all, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
No, he hasn't, and that's the thing. I think like even last season he come in and done really well. I don't think he got the credit he deserved for that. Right, if he tailed off at the end, but so did the team, and we lost a lot of players in that time as well. Played really really well at Chelsea. I remember that game at Chelsea. He was superb that night. So when people turn around and say, oh, he ain't done it here, he ain't done it there. Well, he did it at Chelsea. So if he can do it at Chelsea, he can do it at most places. I know this sounds really bad at this moment in time, even as well as what he's done. People are going to go, well, and I don't mean to be unfair on him on that. Well, we're going to judge him in these next 2 games: Tottenham away, Man United at home. And unfortunately, that's the way it is with him at the moment. Like, I think if he scores in those games, say he scores and we win in those games, it'd be, well, let's see what he does against Manchester City now. Like, you know what I mean? I just think that's going to be how it's going to be with him for the rest of his time at Arsenal.
Is that unfair though, Lee? Do you think that's really
Yeah,
unfair?
I do think it's a little bit unfair. I do feel it's unfair because he has come in and he's a different player to Jesus. Let's be honest, he is. He's a completely different player. He's a more of a goal scorer, getting on the end of things. Would Jesus have scored the goals that he scored? I don't know, but no one gives says to Jesus when he was playing, "I'll wait and see what he does at Spurs, or wait what he does at this game or that game." So I just think it's just one of those things that he's just going to have to deal with. But as much as us fans and everybody says this, we do back him. You know what I mean? Like once he scored yesterday, like Eddie, that so he's got the love from the fans and everything like that. I just think that he's always going to be questioned. Now I don't know why that is, because at the end of it, if you be really honest, he's a good backup striker. He's a very good backup striker for what he is, and that he's a very very good, capable squad player. Is he going to go on and be a 30-goal scorer? I don't know. He scored goals at England in under 21s. He's the record goal scorer apparently. So, it's a difficult one. But I'm one of these ones now. Even though he done well yesterday, and I'm really pleased with him. My thing is now go and do it against Tottenham. Go and nick a go against Tottenham, because the Spurs fans that are now going, he's no Jesus, is he? He's no this and he's no that. Like when you're going to go, everybody's going to do their starting 11s with Tottenham and Arsenal. I can't stand them. Like the one
Combined 11s. You're
combined
talking about.
11. Like, you know what I mean? The one player that's going to be left out by everybody is Eddie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is, because it's going to be Harry Kane. You know what I mean? But I don't think, there's an argument for every other position that Arsenal could get in. But, Eddie's going to just be left out on a whim. And that's the way it's going to be for him, I'm afraid. So he's doing really, really well. And he's not a replacement for Jesus, but he's he's a different sort of a player. And yes, if he carries on scoring goals, this is the thing. If he goes, say, if he scores 2 against Tottenham, 2 against Man United, another one here, another one there, another one there, you can't leave him out. You can't just say, right, okay, you've scored 10 goals in 10 games. Right, we're leaving you out. It's a little bit harsh. So, it's just all he's got to do is just keep scoring goals. That's all he can do, and see where it takes him.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fair
And
play.
us,
Fair
and us,
play.
and us as well.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fair play, man. Tosin, before I come to a couple other players I want to mention, just lastly on Eddie, I think when you look at what he did in the under-21s for England, Francis Jeffers did that, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to be compared to that. Like, let's not get carried away. He might be rubbish." And it looked like he was going to be another Francis Jeffers. To be fair, like,
Mm-hmm.
has he shown enough to you in terms of his mentality that he will be worth taking a punt on and keeping? Because for me, like Lee, I think he can be a backup striker. I don't want him playing every game, if I'm honest. If Jesus is back, I want him in there. But in terms of, we'll come to transfers in a minute. Like, if we were to get another forward, I'm fine
Mm.
with Eddie staying as a part of this squad. I can't lie.
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely fine with Eddie Steen. I think it's weird because I actually think this underrated um underrating of Eddie. I actually think it suits him because I feel like he thrives when he's like backs against the wall. No one rates me. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna do my thing. I actually think it suits him, and I really really respect his mentality. Like I loved what I saw from him in the All or Nothing documentary when Sambi was complaining, "Oh, I'm not getting games." Oh, no. And he's like Sambi, like, what you complaining about, man? Like you gotta do your thing on the pitch, and then you can start complaining. I like that about him. People. That's one of the things that really impressed me about it. I'm like, this is a guy that's really, really determined. I think Arsenal would be mad to let him go, at least it's a win-win for us because he's shown he's able to do it in the Premier League. So a guy like that, 100% should stay on. Should when Jesus comes back, he should go back to the bench. But I'm really confident having an option like him to come off the bench, fox in the box, sniff goals, makes good runs, will put in the work, and is willing to actually work for the team as well. You can see he's a team player, how he's been patient, biding his time, waiting for the right chance, not kicked up a fuss, not moaned, just really been very professional. That's the type of person you want in your team, if you ask me.
Yeah, listen, I hear that, and I think you're right. There is definitely a lot I like about Eddie off the pitch as well as on it. And this season, his development for me off the ball has been better. His link up plays better. I definitely can see some strength in the kid now, whereas I think a few seasons ago, he's kind of been pushed off the ball easily. But I wanted to segue onto that's a nice segue onto the next player I want to talk about, actually, Tosin. I'll stick with you, man. Fabio Vieira. Um, a player that, to be fair, still looks like he needs to get on the weights and bulk up. However, having said that, 2 assists last night. I really like some of his play. The jury's still out in terms of what a signing because 35 million to 40 million is a lot of money. But wanted to get your thoughts on the player and what you think his future looks like at Arsenal, bro.
I think he's going to be good. I just think he needs time. It's not really been an easy settling in period for him. Obviously, he came in. And Portuguese league is a massive drop off in quality compared to the Premier League. He has to get used to physicality. He honestly reminds me of a slightly low key version of Erdegaard when he first joined us on loan. When Erdegaard joined us first on loan, you could see there was quality there, but like you were thinking, okay, you're creative, you're good, but I need you to impose yourself on these matches. The physicality, the physical aspect of his game wasn't really there. And I think when we bought Odegaard last season, we bought him permanently. So he would shine in some games, but some games you're thinking, Odegaard, you're a great player. Like, I can't see you in the match. I'm getting that with Vieira now. I can clearly see this guy's a good player. I can clearly see this guy's got good football brain. He's got a good left foot on him. I just think he just needs to get used to the speed of the Premier League. I think he'll come good. It takes time. David, I'm not saying he's like these players. David Silva needed time. Bernardo Silva needed time. You think about the likes of, even for Arsenal, Alexander Hleb needed time. Like these are these technical type of players. He needs time. And obviously his season's been disrupted by injury. But I think he'll come good for Arsenal.
Listen, I hear that, and Lee, I'll come to you on the same player because for me, he's a player who's got a good left foot. He's got clear vision. He can pass the football. I think there's some nice touches that I look at. there's a lot of his game that he needs to improve. But of course, at 21, I think he's going to need time to settle into the league, and he's going to progress as a player. Last night, another couple of assists and probably one of the brighter sparks on the pitch. Are you happy with what you're seeing, Lee, from Fabio
Yeah,
Vieira?
listen, a couple of things first and foremost. When you go against League One sides, they're physical, tough, and everything like that. So that was a good test for him yesterday. There was a few tackles put in on him. There was one from the centre half when he smashed into the back of him, like when typical centre half at that level, like see an opportunity to hit him and did. Got up and carried on, you know what I mean? And he didn't shy away from it. So that was the first thing I noticed. He wasn't like drifting away from the game. He still kept in the game. The second thing is, I didn't think he was doing great in the first half, but soon as Xhaka and Zinchenko came on, his level went up as well. So I think it's when the better the players around him, the better he's going to do. He got into little pockets of space, and when he got into those pockets of space, don't matter if you're playing League One or Premier League opposition, you have to deliver. And make those passes. And he did. It was a great little pass for the first goal. Well weighted. As soon as he played that pass, Eddie didn't have to do nothing, did he? All he had to do was just go around the goalkeeper and put it in. Like he didn't have to check stride or do anything. It was a lovely, lovely pass. The sort of pass that every centre forward loves to get, because you know that the pace of the pass is going to take you past the goalkeeper and you're going to have a nice little side foot goal. So yeah, I know that was the thing that impressed me yesterday. I think that he kept going. He didn't hide. He didn't. Sometimes things didn't go right for him, but he still gets on the ball and wants to try. So I think that he's doing the right things. Yes, he's going to have to strengthen his up. He's going to have to get a little bit bigger. If you have a look at him, he's very, very slight. I've fortunate enough to meet him, and I like, he's very, very slight. He's only a little boy, really. So it will take him a little bit of time, but that's what this is. I'm not being horrible. He's not been brought in the side to come straight in and do this. This is there's a plan for him to come in here. That it's going to take him a year and a half. They've not actually brought him just for this season. He's going to be a squad player in a couple of seasons' time, maybe looking to push into the side. So there's a plan. And that's what I like about this Arsenal team at the moment. There is a plan, for every player. Even when you look back, there's a plan for Eddie. I think that this has been planned. I'm not saying the injury. For Jesus, but like playing FA Cup games, playing League Cup games, playing the Europa League games, and getting your goals and learning your trade, they're all things that were going to happen, So I think also 21 years of age, you're still very, very young.
Yeah.
I know that there are players that develop a lot quicker than that, but he's not one of them. So I'm not really looking at him and saying, right, I thought it's a little bit harsh as well. Everybody going, he's not being trusted for the game against Newcastle. Well, that was a rough, tough, big side yesterday. He still played in it. I just felt that Mikel felt that day that he felt that he could win the game with the players that he had. I think a little bit of unnecessary criticism come on Vieira then, so he's come out this game and he's proved and done it really well. His next game now will be the Man City game, and he's got to go and do that. But more importantly, what he done last night is that he done well enough for us not to bring on Odegaard. You know what I mean? So job done. So Martin's now nice and fresh for Sunday, thanks to Vieira.
Yeah, that's a great point. It really is. I hear that. Coming to a player that didn't really do much again last night, Tosin. I want to get your thoughts on Sambi Lokonga because it's starting to look like this guy could be a flop for me now. £17 million. I liked him when he first come, and I'll tell you why. Because I saw a player that looked a little bit more like a midfielder that potentially we needed in terms of a player that won the ball and passed forward, tried to be good in transition, progressive passes. Falling off a cliff is a bit of an understatement, mate. I don't understand what this guy is no more. I don't know if I see a 6, a 8, between a 6 and 8. I definitely don't see a 10. I see an invisible midfielder. I don't see what he does that's great. Most of the time, it's been lightweight. Now, it's starting to become a bit frustrating for me, and it looks as if this could be worrying for his future, man. So I want to get your thoughts on his performance is of late and what you think of him, man.
Yeah, similar to you. Like I like the look of him when he first joined, but his form quickly fell off. I think it was when we tried playing him as like in the Thomas Partey role, and Yeah, he just looks lost. I think he needs to go out on loan. I think that might help him. And there's no shame in it as well. Like obviously we bought him for a reason. We paid a lot of money for him. He came in with a reputation to be like the next big thing in terms of like a good box to box midfielder. And the thing is, like I remember reading a few articles, watching videos about him before we signed him. And one of the things he was known for was like progressive passing into the final third. Basically, he was known as the type of person to not get the main assist, but to get the second assist, the pass before the assist. But I don't see any of that at Arsenal. I see a guy that is just, if you ask me, just lacking massively in confidence. So I think it's a few factors. He's just fallen off in terms of form, but he just doesn't look confident. And again, I bring up the All or Nothing documentary. He just strikes me as someone who feels like he should be playing a lot, but he's not really putting that clearly he's not really putting that work in to actually improve his game. So maybe him going out on loan, getting in a clear headspace might do him the world of good. I don't think Arsenal should sell him. I think just persevere with him. I mean, and then he could go somewhere, and you never know. He could be like a Saliba or something. You never
Listen,
know.
it's interesting you say that because one club, Lee, or one manager, I should say, that really raved about him and called him the next Yaya Toure, I think he said it was, is Vincent Company. He's at
Yeah.
Burnley. Burnley are playing some attractive football now, which is mad to say that because they're not a club that are known for that, particularly under Dyche. But Company deserves his flowers. He's done well. He's come there. He's playing nice football at the moment. Rates him. That could be an option for him. I don't think it's a bad thing. I know he's 23 going on 24, but getting first team football for a team that are fighting for the championship, he's going to have to get into a winning side there. So potentially that could be his kind of level for now. I just worry Lee because I actually felt sorry for him when he first come to Arsenal. And I'll tell you why. I felt like he was being thrown in the deep end quite a bit. And what I mean by
He
that is
was.
not just playing at the Arsenal for the first team because that's what it should be. He was asked to go in and anchor in midfield on his own against teams like Brighton while Xhaka was at left back. He was asked to play next to Charlie Patino against Nottingham Forest, go again into his own in midfield, playing a holding midfield number 6, which I think we can all see is not. So I felt a bit sorry for him. This season, I don't feel sorry for him, and I'll tell you why. He's been in an 8, he's been in a natural position, and he hasn't
Hmm.
shined at all. I honestly believe maybe people will say this is a crazy thing to say, but I don't think we lose the game at Old Trafford if Thomas Partey's there. I think the reason we've lost it is because of Lokonga. I just don't see how you can go to Old Trafford and have 0 tackles as a number 6. That's never happened in my 35 years of football. So I just feel personally like he's not the guy that we need right now. Having said that, judges, we have to kind of keep this guy because at the moment we're so depleted in midfield. So we can't be loaning him out if we're not going to replace him. So
No,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts, Lee?
I agree. Like, no, look, he's got to stay there this year and somehow get through it. I agree with both of you there. Like, I just think he's lost a little bit of confidence at this moment in time. First and foremost, it's not easy coming in and playing midfield when you're playing up against players that are playing week in, week out. And you play one game and then you don't play for another 3 or 4 games, and then you've got to come
Mm.
back in, and then you've got to expect to be playing really, really well. What don't help is what you've actually said as well, Dan, is that you come in and people are judging him on the to Thomas Partey. Now, yesterday I felt we struggled in midfield because I don't think he's battle hardened for it and whatever. Like, when Thomas Partey comes in here, Thomas Partey makes that midfield role look very, very easy. It's not. It's
Hmm.
not an easy role. He makes it look easy, so that puts him under a little bit of pressure. Now, for me, what I think he needs to do is he needs to run of games, but he ain't going to get them at Arsenal. You know what I mean? And let's be really honest about it. We don't want him to get that run of games, do we? Because if he's going to get that run of games, that means one of our main men is injured. So you're not wanting him to go there. I think if Burnley come up next season, get him on loan up there for a year. Bring in another, big signing, which I think what we're looking at doing, and then get him out loan. Because I'm with you guys. I do still think there's a player there because I've seen him play a few games and he's done well. But what happens is you know what it's like when you're playing, and things ain't going right for you. Don't matter who you are, how good you are, confidence can drop and all that. I've seen it with players. You know what I mean? Like losing confident professional players. They score a goal and then they go, oh, and then the next minute they've scored a hat-trick because their confidence come back. So I just think he's just lost a bit of confidence. Now you know two things I look at him, and I'm not sticking up for him by this, but two things I'm looking at it, right? Things ain't going well yesterday. It's 0-0, 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go from the end. He's coming off. He guarantees coming off. Like that must hit your confidence a little bit, knowing that you're gonna come off. That's what happened with him. He come off yesterday. Also, Dan, he knows that come Sunday he ain't playing. So straight away, it's a little, it's tough. It's tough for him at this moment in time. So what he's got to do is just keep going, keep trying to keep going and all that. Like, also, it don't help. We played yesterday with a midfield, which is not the midfield. I would like to see him play at some stage with Partey. And he doesn't really ever play that much with Partey, does he? Really, because he's either replacing him,
Agreed.
or So it would be nice to see him play with Partey and Odegaard at some stage. But then you don't want to see Xhaka coming out. But maybe in a Europa League game, maybe in the next game at Manchester City, they can do that. Like, it'd be interesting to see what they do with it. That game against Manchester City, what they're going to do. Are they going to make a lot of changes or not? And I'll go back to that Man United game. Is it really on Lokonga? I think you're right. What you're saying, like Partey plays, we might win that game. But Partey's a much better player than him, So again, he's under that sort of pressure. The only game we've lost is the one that he started in, So it's tough. It is tough on him, and I actually watched him yesterday, and I'm going to be really honest. I felt sorry for him yesterday. I did feel a little bit sorry for him. I wanted him to actually play well. I actually wanted him to do well in there, but when the changes were made, you just knew that the two changes were going to be them two. And when those two changes come, if I'd be really honest, Dan, they made such a big difference. So he can't even go, oh, why you took me off? You know what I mean? Because, proof was there. It was there. It's a difficult one. Like, if you signed Declan Rice today, you could put him out on loan. But I'm with you on this. We ain't signing no midfield players, so we can't let another midfield player go. We can't, So he's going to have to suck it up and try and hit a little bit of form.
Yeah, facts. What's worrying is something you've said there, mate, which I want to come on to next. We've lost Tosin, and there's names across our foreheads, which everyone's laughing at. Here we go. He's back. You lost your phone,
Sorry,
bro.
guys.
You're back. Nah, it's cool, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's calm. I want to come on to a point which I feel is quite concerning right now, and it's the fact that we had to use subs to beat Oxford, because that's basically what we did. We got a B team that couldn't beat Oxford until we had to bring Xhaka, Zinchenko, and others on, right? So that's a worry for me. And we're in the 10th of January. The transfer window is open, guys. Trust me, it is open. We need to do something about it. I'm being serious now. This is mad. Like, we are going to Spurs, and at the moment we have no forward on the bench. Yes, Smith Rowe is back. It's great. And Fabio Vieira, we've mentioned. But if we're really struggling, like we were against Newcastle at 0-0, and I see Tomiyasu and Tierney getting warmed up, I'm going to screw, because we need to see better than that now. Like, we need to get some players in at this club ASAP that's going to provide some firepower. Now, João Felix has gone to Chelsea, and people seem happy about that we haven't gone for him. Personally, I kind of slightly disagree and think that would have been perfect for what we need. If Felix is on our bench, I'm happy. Mudryk looks like it's probably going to happen eventually, and that would be a good signing from what we're told. But again, there's doubts over him because he's played 30 games for Shakhtar, he's 21, and it's a poor league, so that could be a risk. But at the end of the day, I need to see some players, because I've never seen us going for a title race with no striker on the bench, and that's a worry for me. So, Tosin, I'll come to you, man. Are you feeling like there's some confidence we're going to get a few players in, or is there still doubt that we'll get the 2 or 3 that we need? Do you think, bro?
No, I think we'll get him in. I think it's just obviously Man United have done us in with paying that much for Anthony, because that's the only thing that's complicating this deal.
Facts.
Because the truth is, Mudryk, I really want him at the club, and I think he'll come good. But it's a fact. It's a lot of money. It makes sense why Arsenal are like trying to get the best deal possible out of Shakhtar, because it's a joke that we're even having to get into this type of bidding war to get a player who, yes, he's probably been one of the best left wingers, in the group stages of Champions League, but at the same time, bruv, you play for Shakhtar Donetsk. Like, come on, the quality of your league is not great, so we shouldn't be paying that much. I think we'll get him in, and I think I seen the way Arsenal operate. I think once we get this done, then we're gonna see. I think we'll see a bit more activity. I think I can see us getting a central mid as well. To be honest, I don't think we'll sign a striker. I think probably the only way we'll get a striker is if someone good is available on loan. I can't see us actually buying a striker. Felix would have been a decent signing, but I think we'll get Mudryk and maybe one. I hope maybe one midfielder, especially to help cover the void when Thomas Partey isn't playing. But I'm with you in terms of the drop off in quality. It's a bit mad that we needed 2 subs to beat Oxford. Let's hope that it's just down to rustiness. These guys just needing more minutes. But I can see us doing business.
Fair play, Tosin. Do you think like if we go for a midfielder, do you think like it needs to be a CDM as opposed to a Tielemans?
I'll take either, but I think I can't see Arsenal getting 2. So if I had to pick between the one, CDM, because Partey is so integral to what we do. El Neni's decent, but like let's be honest, it's not the same. We need someone who's as dynamic as Partey, but at the same time, Partey isn't just a guy that's a sideways passer guy. He's dynamic, but he's going to do his best to get the ball to the front three as often as possible. So we need someone, if he gets injured, we need someone who's going to come and maybe not do as good as him, but can at least replicate the type of things he brings to the team. So I would rather that.
Listen, I hear that, and Lee, I'll come to you on the same thing. It feels like we're going through. We do a show and then we do a show about it, and it feels like we still haven't signed anyone,
Yeah.
and it's becoming like that again. And we saw last January like what happened, and I think there's PTSD with that. I think everyone's like, "Oh, please don't have another January like that," where Vlahovic, and then Douglas Luiz last day actually we'll get neither and we'll just crack on. I don't want to see any of these kind of any of this stuff. I need to be seeing it done. So I'll ask you the same question, Lee, but also ask you about midfield, because for me, we've just spoken about Lokonga and how he's not the answer at the moment. So what do we do in that area as well, man? What do you
Well,
expect?
it's no secret. They try to sign, Luis, didn't they, from Aston Villa on the last day, like Douglas. Is it Douglas Luiz? Can't who was but he tried to sign him. So that tells you that they were short. It tells you that they were short. They're looking for someone in that area. What about one of the defining things for me at this moment in time, and it's a massive worry. We got like 2 massive games now coming up against Man United and Tottenham. Defining games to where we're going to be. Are we going to go for the title or we're not? Right, and we're playing 90 minutes. 2 out of the 3 yesterday. Martinelli played 90 minutes. Eddie played 90 minutes, and I'm convinced that probably Saka would have carried on as well, like if he hadn't took a knock. That tells me, and I didn't enjoy that game because of it yesterday. Like I was worried because of what the hell are they playing? The fact of the matter is they're having to play against Oxford on a Monday night because we haven't got anybody else, and that's just not acceptable. And here we are going into this game now. What if one of them would have got injured yesterday? What happens then? You know what I mean? Who plays on against Tottenham? It's not good enough. It's not good enough. These deals should have been done. The one thing about Jesus, and that's a big worry, what he come out yesterday and said as well, Mikel Arteta, is going to be months before he comes back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he actually said that yesterday. So it's not.
Oh, really?
It's not, yeah, he said it's going to be many
So it's
months.
not 4th of February return then.
No,
It's going to be.
no.
Oh, wow.
He said yesterday
he's going to
it's
come
be
back
many
March.
Wow.
So I don't know if he's just saying that for whatever, but when he says that tells you that it's not going to be anytime soon. So you're looking at this team at this moment in time, and we're in a fantastic position. And the one thing about how can I say, it's no great time to get injured, but if you're going to get injured, the 4th of December he got injured. That tells you, and he's going to be out for 5-6 months. It's not like the 4th of February when you can't do nothing about it, guys. You know what I mean? We've had since the 4th of December when we can do something about it. That's the one thing that's been in our favour. and we've done nothing. Nothing. I honestly think, even with this Mudryk thing, like someone said to me earlier, he ain't played since beginning of November. So, I looked at Smith Rowe yesterday, like, he looked like he was 4 months short of football. You know what I mean? So he's not going to come in and do great things. If you're bringing on Smith Rowe on Sundays because you're winning 2-0 and just trying to get him minutes, under his belt, he's not going to come on and change you the game because he's too short. He's way short of it all. And same as this Mudryk, when's he going to come in? If you're going to get him in, you got, you're spending a lot of money on him. When's he going to play? When's he going to play? You know what I mean? If so it is a bit of a worry. I think with the Felix one, I honestly think that they've looked at that and they've got other options and thought maybe I don't know, but that we need to have done something, and I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't bring in a couple of players. I know a midfield player as well. I think we're desperate for a midfield player just to make things. Give us a different option in there as well. Like, sometimes, I look at the game against Newcastle. If you've got somebody that's going to go box to box and stretch teams and go in behind the defence or whatever, we haven't really got that, have we? We all play in front of the, like Xhaka and Partey more player. And even Uligar, really, they like to play in front of the defence and pick passes there. No one goes running through. Xhaka does it to a certain degree. If we could get somebody else doing that, so there's plenty of things there to do, as I say. But I emphasise this now. Like people go, oh, well, we don't want to do this for next season. We've got next season, summer, and all that. Like, not very often, guys. You're going to be 5, 6, 7 points clear of Man City, like at Christmas time, because really I know we're a couple of games behind, but say we are not gonna, we can buy in 4 or 5 players next season and Man City can win their first 10, 15 games. They're capable of doing that. They've had a little bit of a stutter this time around, drop points that they probably would have never have dropped last season or the season before, when Liverpool were chasing them for whatever reason. You've got to take your opportunities now, and this is the opportunity now, to now nail this title. And that's my thing, and I just don't think that we've done that.
Listen, it is one of those, man. I literally, my worry in midfield is this. Like, I think we're going to get Mudryk. I don't expect us to get a striker on with Tosin, right? My worry in midfield is all of the players that we're being linked with. I see them as summer moves, not January. Because Tielemans, I just don't really feel like Leicester would have any need to sell him. Like, they're just like, you can just take him. Like, I don't want the 15 mil. Like, we're trying to get our season back on track and we need him and Maddison. So none of them are going in January, in my opinion. Danilo, from what I hear, it's died off a little bit of interest. And I saw Nottingham Forest want him now, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's a mad one. Milinkovic-Savic, that's a summer move. He's not coming in January for me anyway. I can't see that one. And Declan Rice definitely might not even come to Arsenal, but if he does, it ain't in January. So I'm kind of struggling. But someone put in the chat earlier, I can't remember where it is now, Ibrahim Sangare, who's a player I've been talking about for years. I really like this guy. I liked him at Toulouse. I saw a Yaya Toure figure, a proper Yaya Toure figure, not one that company had seen. And for me, I think we could get him. Now, at PSV, he was a player that impressed me along with Cody Gakpo when we played them in the Europa League. At the Emirates, when we did them over, they were, for me anyway, I thought he was one of the better players, and certainly was at PSV away. So he, for me, looks as a player that can come in and do what Thomas Partey does. You're never going to get a Thomas Partey unless you buy a Declan Rice or a Rodri, right? I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But you can get better than Elneny and Lokonga out there. And that's what we need to try and do, in my opinion. So that if Partey gets a long ACL, long-term injury, touch what he doesn't, we're not going, oh, no, Sambi Lokonga and Elneny, and that's it. We need somebody that's like, boom, he's better. Elneny can do a one-day job or an FA Cup Oxford job. This guy's ready. So that's where I'm at, and I struggle to see who that player is. As for a forward, I think the João Felix one would have been good for us. Like Tosin said, alone, I think personally that's a good option. I think he would have been better at Arsenal than Chelsea, and I'm not saying that to be bitter. I just think that he would fit in
No,
better
it's
at
true.
Arsenal. I think the players around him at Chelsea, I mean, we don't even know where they're going to be at the moment. It's mad. So I don't know that he will be seen as a great signing. I could be proved wrong. It could go well for him, and I'll judge him when he puts on a Chelsea shirt. But I'm struggling to see if it isn't João Felix and Tielemans, who is going to be instead at the moment. And that's where we could see developments in the coming days, weeks, about some shocks. But I just wanted to get your opinions, Tosin, on any kind of players you think I've missed there that you think, do you know what, if I was Arsenal, I'd go and get these two if we can't get, let's say, Tielemans and now Felix, who's now gone to Chelsea. So what's your thoughts on that, man?
This is I highly doubt we'll get him because other teams are in for him. But a player that could be decent for Arsenal is Unahi, the Moroccan midfielder. I'm hearing 15 M's, like, is the price tag that's being banded around for him. That's not a lot of money, for a guy. But then at the same time, they're taking a punt on a few good games at World Cup. But he looks a decent player, someone that's gonna do something with the ball in midfield. But I think the list of names you got there seems pretty spot on. I've heard us linked with the likes of like Zaha, Hazard. I don't want any. Zaha I would take, but I highly doubt Crystal Palace would let him go.
Yep.
I think he's probably going to get a free move at the end of the season. Hazard, I don't want him, to be honest. I know his class, I know his want, but I don't want him. I
No.
really don't want him. So that's it, really. I think I hear where you guys are coming from, but like Arsenal can only work with what they got. I'm not gonna worry just yet. You know what I mean? Like, I trust the board. They know what they're doing. I know we were in a similar predicament last season. We wanted a striker. They wanted Vlahovic. And to be honest, the club did everything they could to try and get him. And he just made a dumb decision to go to Juve. And now that's really backfired on him. Arsenal don't strike me as a club that are panic buying anymore. We're only buying players that fit in with the ID of the club. And I think that pays off. That has huge payoffs, as you've seen with Jesus, with Zinchenko, with Erdegaard. But at the same time, it's a big risk. You got to have faith in what the club are doing and not panic and not worry, even if it doesn't pan out the way we would like. We just got to trust them to do the job they're doing. I think I'm still refusing to panic, to worry. I believe we'll get Mudryk. There's no reason why he can't come in and do a great job. Arshavin, we bought him from Russian league. I mean, similar quality, to be honest. I know he did dirt for Russia as well, but still, you're bringing in a player, and he did his thing. So I'm not gonna worry just yet. We are light in midfield, but there's a lot more to be positive about than to be worried about with this Arsenal team and where we are right now. So I'm just waiting to see what we do when we get Mudryk.
Yeah, fair play, man. And I think with Mudryk, I was doing my research on him because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend I know a lot about Mudryk. Right, I watched him in a few Champions League games, see him on YouTube. I also watched Mustafi on YouTube, and he looked like Cannavaro. So I'm reserving my judgment. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be like be realistic about it. It does look like a wicked player. And I did some research, and someone suggested that he's got the pace of Walcott and he's got the quick feet of Alexander Hleb. If you was to compare him to two Arsenal players, mate, if he's that, I fancy that. Do you know what I'm saying? So let's see how it goes with him. I wanted to ask you just quickly, Lee, before we move on to North London Derby, quick. I wanted to ask you, if we're going to pay that much for Mudryk, right? If you could have the option of buying, let's just take Tielemans, Zaha, and Trossard, all out of contract in the summer, all available in January, let's say, and we pay the 25 million a piece for each of those, let's say, right? Would you rather that, or would you rather go and get that star signing in Mudryk? What's your preference?
Whatever Arteta and they do want to do. When it comes down to them, I back them on the transfers all the time. I've got to say that they've mainly hit more than they've missed. So if Arteta wants Modric, that's the one he wants, then go and get it. And if that is the case, I don't care if it's over the odds and everything.
Exactly.
I'm not
Same.
bothered. Yes, Ben White was over the odds, and people went on about that. Are they saying that about Ben White now? It's a bargain,
Exactly.
isn't it? You know,
Exactly.
so I don't care. I don't care about that side of it. And if they can't get the money, if they can't get the players that they want in, then for me, you go, right, Tavares, you're coming back from Marseille. Pepe, you're coming back from Nice, and Balogun, you're coming back from wherever
That's a
you
good
are.
point.
Get them back in there and get bodies in if that's what's required. Like, and I don't care when people turn around to me like and say, "Oh yeah, it's good for their development that you know that they stay there." It's not good if we ain't got no bodies coming on. Like, you know what I mean? We have got no striker coming on. We've got one out on loan in Balogun who's banging in goals in the French league. If we can't get who we got, we say, right, you're coming back. End of. And that's how it is. You know, I'm sorry, because when I look at that bench, I'd rather have Balogun and I'd rather have Pepe on it than a kid that I've never heard of, right? And this is what has happened in the last couple of games. A kid comes on I've never heard of, and then the next week there's another kid on there just to make up spaces. I don't want that. We're going for the title. You know, I look at Manchester City's bench, and it's full of. I know we can't compete with that because of what they've got, but ultimately he looks round and he's got like, well, who can I put on? I can put Grealish on. I can put
Mahrez.
De Bruyne and Mahrez. I've got a choice. I look on our bench, and there isn't a choice. So I'd rather have bodies in there, someone than nothing. So if we can't get a forward in, or we can't get this Madrid deal in that, then I'm afraid Balogun has to come back. Ideally, you don't want them to do that. You want them back next season when we're in the Champions League and there's going to be loads of games and all that. But that if we can't get in the players that we want, then fine. Listen, this Modric one, if that's the one they want, I don't care. I'm not bothered how much it's costing. Like, you know, if that's the one that they want, if he's got the pace of Walcott, right, that'd do for me because that scares people. That pace scares people. And if we've got something like that, do you imagine like with 15, 20 minutes to come on, he's coming on with all this pace and feet like Kleb on a tired back four? Thank you very much. I'll have it every day of the week, like, you know. So, and I don't care. People go at me, oh, well, yeah, you know, he's going to come in. Where's he going to play? I don't care. There's other positions. Martinelli can play on the right. Martinelli can play down the middle. Saka can play in the hole. Saka can play anywhere on the park, to be honest. So there's loads of potential with these young players, and he fits the bill, Dan. You know, he's young, 21 years of age. He also, which is a good thing, he's going to come in and he's going to have Zinchenko looking after him, put him, you know,
Exactly.
It's not like he's coming in like he's going to be well looked after, and he's going to hit the ground running, hopefully.
Yeah, man. Listen, I hear that, and I hope that it does happen. Listen, we've got a couple of super chats I want to do, and then I want to get some thoughts going into Sunday's big North London derby. So let's put this one up first, which is from Dallas. To Justin, I'll ask you this one, man. We've spoken a little bit about it: FA Cup, Europa League, and the title challenge. I feel we have to sacrifice one purely because of how thin our squad is, and our second stringers were really poor. We kind of mentioned that the fact that we're quite thin in the squad, but it's a good question about the competitions that we're in. I'd love to see us go for all three, of course, but is our squad big enough for that, do you think, bro?
Honestly, it's not. But at the same time, like that's a loser mentality. Yeah, like just go for him. Like Arsenal, Arsenal are in a really good position, and I think too many Arsenal fans are moving with fear. Like I get it, we've not been in this position for a long time, but like come on, like we're 5 points clear. The team is in a good moment. We've got a board that we've got non-pitch management like Edu that know what they're doing. Let's just go for it. If we lose, we lose. But I don't like this talk about, oh yeah, like don't bother in competition. A trophy is a trophy. Like Europa League would be a good trophy to win. The FA Cup would be a good trophy to win. The Premier League would be an amazing trophy to win. Of course, that's the main. But like the other two would still be trophies to win. There's trophies up for grabs. We're not Man City where we've won a lot of trophies to say yeah like let's just set no, let's not do that. Let's go for it. Let's go for all of the cups. And then if we lose, if we're tired, we're tired, you know. And then that will show in our performances. We'll get kicked out of one eventually, and then we'll have to focus on another.
Yeah, listen, I've always been like that. I've always been, let's go for the cups. I hate it when certain parts of the fan base say, "Oh, we don't really matter. We went out to Brighton, and if we go out to Oxford, so what? You know, it's all about the league." And I think, are you kidding? Like, we've won 14 FA Cups. We've got amazing history in that competition. Why we want to roll over? We have done for 2 years, by the way, against Forest and
Yeah.
Southampton. We've rolled over. I don't want to roll over again. Now, I understand it's going to be difficult going to Man City. I get that. It's frustrating to get that draw this early on, of course. But it doesn't mean I'm going to roll over and die and just go, right, let's go out of this then, leave Man City in it, and we'll go for the Europa League and the league. Oh, man, we got to go
Hmm.
for all three. So I'm with you there, 100%, mate. Let's bring the next super chat up. Lee, this one, allow you to have this one. Says, Cliff, big up yourself, man. Says 2 weeks, maybe even Sunday, before everyone's saying he ain't the one. Eddie does a job, but he ain't going to lead us to the promised land. I'd love to be wrong. Again, mate, I think with Eddie and Nketiah, we've kind
Yeah,
of touched on that and mentioned it already, haven't we?
yeah, we've got to say that. Like, let's hope we are wrong. If I'll be honest, is he the striker that's going to win us the title? Not at this moment in time, but if the more goals he gets, the confident he's going to get. And you don't know. Listen, we're coming up against a beast of a player on Sunday in Harry Kane, but he started off by scoring goals in the Europa League, and let's be honest about it. Tottenham tried to sell him on more than one occasion back in the day, but he got his opportunity, took it. That's what Eddie's going to do, and so we'll see. We'll see if Eddie scores on the ratio that he's scoring now. Like a goal a game, I'll tell you what, that's good enough for me. That is good enough for
Hmm.
me.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. This one comes in from Keenan. He says he'd like to see Mudryk, Marcus Thuram, and Benica cover the key areas. Do you know what? But we actually had him, didn't we? He's gone to Milan now. But Marcus
Yeah.
Thuram is a yeah, and he looks good as well, by the way. But
Hmm.
Marcus Thuram is a player I mentioned three
I'll
seasons
take
ago.
him.
Like him a lot, and
I'll take him.
can play kind of left and up top. He's quite big. He's got good attributes, and that would be a really good signing for me. So who knows? I think Newcastle are favourites. If I'm honest, I think apparently St. Maximan has been like twerking on social media saying he's coming and stuff like this. Apparently, but we'll see what happens there with Newcastle. But that would be a good signing for me. And then Chaitany's last one, it says send Lokonga to loan at Burnley under company. He rated him and developed him, and he's doing great there. We mentioned that earlier, and I think that would be a good move for him
Yeah,
if he was to go there
Yeah,
because
would
he's
do.
got a manager that believes in him and trusts in him, and he'll definitely bulk him up because. Listen, that's what his teams are all about, I imagine, in terms of how he played as a footballer. Guys, to wrap up, we'll talk a little bit about the big weekend game. Tossing it starts with you. Form goes out the window. Haven't won there since 2014. Rosicky 1-0
Hmm.
first minute, and it's a North London derby. Over to you, mate. What are you thinking?
Arsenal win. Arsenal win. You know, because I was talking with my brother about it today. I said 3-1, but I'm gonna revise that. I think 3-2. We're gonna need to score. We're gonna need to score more than I cannot see us going there. I would love it if we went there and we won like 1-0 and we kept a clean sheet. But this annoying sorry, Harry Kane, you just know he's gonna score. You could give him 20 penalties against Arsenal, he's slapping every single one. You give him 2 penalties for England, he misses the other one. So that's who we're up against. But I still think Arsenal will win. I think Spurs have been a bogey team at their ground, but I think these are the games Arsenal need to win. Like there's no point backing us against Chelsea away. There's no point backing us against Liverpool at home. These are the games Arsenal need to win to show, and I believe that they will lay the gauntlet down. To be honest, I think I'm going to go 3-2 to Arsenal. I can see that. I can see a fast start. I can see Spurs starting slow. I can see us if we get the early goal. I can see these fans getting on the back of their team the way they have been the past few games at home. I really see Arsenal going there and doing some damage. Just got to
Listen, I hope
play our
you're right.
game.
I hope you're right. I really do. I'm not going at the weekend, but Lee is, and I wanted to get your thoughts, judges, going there. Last year was absolutely horrendous, mate. Me
oh,
and you were standing
horrendous.
pretty much next to each other, and I've got PTSD from that. I hope it ain't going to be the same. Let's hope there's not a red card, man. As soon as there's be a bloody red card, doesn't there, that ruins the game, either for one side or the other. So if there is a
Hmm.
red card, let's hope it's for them. I must say, Lee, like I'm going big settings for Lee judges. I must say, we're looking at this, and I'm thinking we should not be going into this game fearing them because they've been terrible. They've not been great. I look at our form, I look at their form. Conte's got pressure. Arteta's flying. It's got everything pointing towards an Arsenal win, but it is a North London derby. They have got players back. They have got Son, Kane, I believe Kulusevski, Ben Tenkour, I believe also. So it's going to be very difficult for the Arsenal. But having said that, our team is exactly the same and as strong as it can be, obviously, with Eddie instead of Jesus. So I think it will be a tough one, but I don't expect to be walking away there extremely disappointed that we've been battered. So what's your thoughts, mate?
If they play like they have done and set up like they have done in the past, they've set up like that against Liverpool. They've set up like that against Newcastle. If they set up like that against us, we will beat them. We will beat them. That is the thing. Like, you know, if they start off slow against us and play that same sort of style that they've done, you know, Newcastle destroyed them for the first half. Liverpool did, to be fair, as well. Like, you know, so for me, I think that if we can, if they start off like that, we can get the better of them. So I think at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a very, 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 very tough game because it always is there. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm nervous, always nervous. But as I said yesterday, and I say it again, this is the first time in a very, very long time that we are going there as the better team. We've not gone there over the last few years as the better team. That doesn't mean that you're going to go there and win because we've been like over the years when we was winning titles and everything like that. We didn't necessarily go there and win. I remember, you know, getting draws. The Invincible year when we went unbeaten, we got a draw there. Another time we was 1-0 down and then Perez scored a great goal. So listen, it's always going to be a tough place. But if we play to how we can do, you know, and we've been fantastic away from home this season, by the way. But I think we've been really, really good away from home, putting a sort of performance like we did against Brentford, and you know, defend properly. Then I think that we've got a very, very good chance of winning this game. But I do think it depends how Spurs set up. If they set up really slow and let us, you know, like be like they are, you know, they was even like that against who they play at the weekend? Portsmouth. They even started that same style of play, like sitting back and everything like that. And Portsmouth had a couple of good chances early on, like, you know. If they do that, then we must take our chances. And if we go in a couple of goals up at half time, I think we could pick them off and it'd be a very, very good day for us. But I do think it does depend how they start. I just, you know, if we'd have beaten Newcastle, I feel we could have gone in this game, and if we drew this game, it'd be all right. Well, I think if we're gonna, I know it's a bad thing to say, but if we're gonna push for this title, we've got to win this game. We've got to win our next two games. You know, that's the thing.
Massive, absolutely massive. And the thing is, Lee, is this gives momentum, doesn't it, going into the next one? If we get this one, you know, it lifts us massively, mate. Absolutely massively.
Massively. And also then the next game, they've got Man City. So we can also, you know, go, come on, you Spurs. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so, listen, I guarantee you this now. If we beat them on Sunday, right, they will not take nothing. They took 6 points off Man City last night. They won't take a bean off them this time around. They'll lose both games. But what that will do is push them out of the top 4 race as well. Like, you know what I mean? So it's so important that we nail this game on Sunday. Please nail it.
Massive, absolutely massive. We've got a show coming up on Thursday night to talk about it. It's myself, Lee. It's going to be Stelios from Tottenham away, and it's going to be Sky Sports presenter Michael Bridge. So make sure you stay tuned for that one, people, on Thursday, because it will be a decent one. Tossin, I've got to say thanks to you, bro, for coming on.
Bro.
Man. Much appreciated. All good, man. I think you've turned into a bit of a Dalek. I don't know if it's your headphones or what, but it's cool, man. And was that me? Was that me? Oh. It's cool, man.
This is where it went like right at the end, like
yeah, right at the end. It's all good. No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming on, bruv, and say hello to your brother for me, man. Nice. It's calm, man. It's calm. Judges, always a pleasure, mate.
No,
And
I
we'll be
enjoyed
back on
that. That was a good
Thursday.
chat. That was really good chat, like So,
Really good one,
onwards
man.
and upwards now. Big week, like you know what I mean. Big week. Big,
Absolutely,
massive week.
absolutely. Big up the chat, smash a like and subscribe as you go out. We'll see you next time back on Thursday evening for a North London derby preview. Until then, take it easy, guys, and up the Arsenal. Take care.